Hi everyone and welcome to the Icehouse podcast, conversations with Icehouse alumni with the intention of sharing stories and inspiring other business owners and leaders. I'm Bryar, Stewart, the Community Manager at the Icehouse, and today we have Logan Boyce on the podcast. Logan works as the Group Wineries Manager at Indevin and was on our Leadership Development Program 43, so just finished up last year. So thanks, Logan, for joining us on the podcast. Appreciate it.
No worries. Good morning.
Awesome. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. So let's start. I would love if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and what your career has looked like to date.
Right, very good. So a bit about myself. Born and raised on the family farm. So farming is in the blood. So grew up there and are now back living there with my wife and two daughters.
Awesome.
So we're based there, and we're fairly active in all things outdoors. Takes up any spare time that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Career-wise has been, I guess, a bit of a mixed bag to date. Out of school down to university, not really knowing where I wanted to go career-wise. And in amongst that was various jobs on farms, bit of surveying work, just trying to work out where I wanted to go, and then eventually joined into the wine industry, and then started some extramural study, actually through Indevin, where I am now, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's so cool. And explain your role at Indevin and how long you've worked at the company.
Yep. So my role at the moment, I'm the Group Wineries Manager. So I'm responsible for our Malborough Riverlands facility and our Hawke's Bay facility as well. So they're at quite opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of scale. The Malborough winery is close to a 50,000 tonne facility. And our Hawke's Bay facility is spec'd at about 4,000. So quite different spectrums there. And then in terms of the role, it's really all things operations. So winemaking, cellar and engineering will report through to myself. So it's making sure that basically the doing side of it is happening as it should be. And so I've been with Indevin since the end of 2003. So when the business first started, with our first harvest in 2004, and obviously the roles have changed significantly along with the business over that time span.
Totally. You must have seen massive amounts of growth, especially in the last couple of years. Is that right? Yeah,
definitely. And certainly in the earlier years as well, Bryar, the business, when it first started, was in a key position in the industry, and the growth curve was just, to be fair, it was crazy. It was all about hardware, and the industry was growing so fast, and we were almost growing in parallel with it.
Yeah.
And then we sort of hit that point where we realized we needed a lot of the systems to support the hardware. So that was quite a learning curve. And then we're in that growth phase again now, with obviously the recent addition to the Indevin family of Villa Maria and Thornhill. So that's bringing I guess a different type of growth phase to the business. So it's really exciting.
How cool to see something grow and be part of something from the start. I'm sure that's been a really cool experience, even seeing the amount of employees that have been hired, and getting to know people along the journey, and sort of just feeling like you've been part of it from the beginning of something special.
Yeah, definitely. And it certainly helped me as my roles adapted over the years and changed, having some of that history and where we've been, and things that worked, things that didn't, and all the people along the way. From 2004 we had 12 staff for our harvest, and now I'm trying to recruit 130. So
wow.
it's just a completely different beast.
Yeah, completely different ballgame.
So no, it's been cool.
That's so cool. So what does a day in the life of Logan look like? Like, I would struggle to picture what you would do. You know, you get up, you head into work. What does that look like for you? Is it quite similar each day? Does it change every day? I'd love to hear.
Yeah, it's I'd like to say it's all organised and planned, but that can change in a heartbeat. So I usually try and get into site for a 7 a.m. kickoff, and where I can, I'll commute to work on the old push bike. Just a
awesome,
good way to clear the head. So try and do that a couple of times a week, and then there's a series of structured meetings that we have weekly and monthly that are, I guess, concrete milestones that we hit. And then around that, it's all things people, plant and process is where the focus is. And it's making sure that's all supported, maintained. Any development pieces, actions are happening, operational targets. So we set a weekly plan. Yeah. And that's a plan that everyone, I guess, signs off on, that we're in agreement that that's a achievable plan from all departments, and then we proceed to execute that plan on a weekly basis. And that's talking off season. Harvest is a different kettle of fish, where we've got sort of 6 weeks really to get that fruit through ferment, maintaining our quality markers. We've got all our training and education for our new team members that join us for harvest. So that's sort of through March, April. And then we're looking at all continuous improvements, a huge piece to what we do, Bryar. We're always trying to improve. We're not just going, well, that's how we've always done it and it works. How can we get better? Can we get efficient? Can we bring improved quality? Or we're bringing a lot of smart technologies in now. So some of our tank farm at the Malborough site is smart. So people don't have to go up the top of those tanks. They can do all their operations at the ground. So that's taken a lot of setup time out of our operations, which when we're setting something up, we're not adding value. So we want people doing more of the, if we're transferring product or blending or additions, that's where we're improving and adding value. Rather than pushing the pumps around the cellar or building the lines. So
because it'd be so easy to go, well, it worked for us last year, especially around harvest. Let's just do it. We don't have a massive amount of time. But to improve year on year, it's why the company's had such incredible growth. And the name that it has, right, is because of that sort of forward thinking of how can we step it up next year. And I love that.
Yeah, definitely. It's been an attitude that's been there right from day one, that continuous improvement attitude. And the other big one is health and safety. Health and safety is a mantra from the top down from our board. So there's a really healthy atmosphere around health and safety, and there's a lot of continuous improvement comes through that space as well.
Yeah, awesome. That's cool. And I can imagine that would be really important when you're hiring people, in seasons, right? So like your seasonal workers, it'd be really, really important to make sure they've been looked after in that space as well. Yeah,
100%, because we go into shift mode for harvest, and for the off season, to be fair, but harvest we're 24 hours, 7 days a week. So there's a heavy reliance. If you're on the day shift, there's someone coming in to sub you out and carry on your activities through the night. So it's critical that our team stay healthy and fit through that period. And then obviously we've got all the COVID-19 protocols that we need to bring into that space as well to keep the team and the business safe moving forward.
Of course, that brings a whole nother dynamic, just making sure no one goes down in that, crucial 6 weeks. So I'm learning lots actually, in terms of, what life looks like for you guys. I'm sure just touching the surface, but it's really interesting stuff. People just, they drink their wine, they love the wine, but they don't always know the hard work that happens behind the scenes. So interesting to learn.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously we've got this 6-week window that dictates the rest of our year. That's the only time that's when the fruit's ready, and it needs to come in. So if we miss that window, then that year's harvest won't exist.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, a lot of pressure on those 6 weeks, that's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to know, what's one thing that you wish you knew when you began your career? It's an interesting question, but I think, lots can learn. A lot of people can listen in and learn something from that.
It is a very good question, and I think the answer probably changes based off the role as you move through. From when I first started, I was a frontline staff member operating fruit receival, and trying to learn everything, and then moving through where you move into positions of responsibility and you're managing people in terms of operationally, but their development and career pathways. So yeah, very good question, Bryar. Where I landed was if I knew at the start and that my role was going to evolve the way it has, it would be the true value of people.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess there's a few different branches to that. So I see that from not just the operational output that a staff member provides, but it's the whole business culture, the energy that people bring. They're the lifeblood of the business. You can have all the fancy software and systems and equipment, but you've got to have the right people to make that work. The whole continuous improvement thing falls over without people. And then to be able to support your business growth, have they got the capability and support to grow with the business? So they might be joining the business at this point, but the business is growing rapidly. Have they got the bandwidth to actually keep up with that growth? So yeah, I think the value of people is, if I was conscious just how important good people and that are to a business, that's something I wish I'd known even right back when I was at a more hands-on operation level.
Yeah, that's a brilliant answer. And I actually really do love that, in these podcasts, how often the value of people comes up. It's just, and I think even in the last couple of years, it's been a good reminder to us. People are the lifeline of a business. Yep. And more than just the operational side, what they bring just from their energy and culture is massive to any company. So that's a great answer.
Yeah, we've seen it with the first lockdown, Bryar, just how it changed our culture, because for that harvest window, you have a lot of internationals that are traveling the globe doing multiple harvests a year.
Right.
And we sort of sat at 30-odd% returnee, which for us, that's 40-odd people that have done a harvest with us before. They know what we're about. And when I say a harvest, some of them had done 10 or more.
Yeah, wow.
So they were like a permanent returning. And we lost those overnight. And we just seen the whole culture change within our harvest, I guess our harvest team.
Yeah.
Just with that, not having those people coming back that are, fully immersed in our way of doing things.
Yeah, that just understand the culture, they fit right back in. There's no having to, because what I see it and I find is it's easy to explain instructions to someone, right? I'm guessing hey, do this, then this, A to B. But it's very hard to explain culture and pass on culture. It takes time. So definitely. I can imagine that would have been a big loss, losing, those that just understand the culture.
Yeah, and we've seen, normally for the harvest period, we have sort of 20% will be doing their first vintage ever.
Right. Yeah, ever.
Not just an Indevin one, but at any winery. And for 2021, that was at 53%.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's a completely different dynamic. You're having to have a really good look at your training, because people don't have that base knowledge around harvest, what it is. And how that functions. And I'm predicting for 2022 that number could be even higher. There's just no one that we don't have those internationals coming in that have got all that harvest experience. So it's been a good wake up, and it's not a bad thing. I think it's we were probably heavily reliant on the international travellers and that coming in, and this has certainly made us focus more internally, which I think is really good. So
upskill those that are here, for sure. Oh, so interesting, learning lots, and a good flow on to the next sort of question. What has been a challenge and a highlight of your career journey so far?
A challenge, I guess, keeping abreast of the growth of the business has been a bit of an interesting one. But I think changing my way of thinking, Bryar, has probably been my biggest challenge that I'm still working through. Is evolving from that operational thought process and action focused, hands-on, to moving more towards strategic and focusing on that big picture and the challenges that brings when you're not as hands-on as you used to be. Has been a real challenge for me, and letting go of some of those. Delegation has been a big challenge. Which when you're smaller, it's easier, but as you grow, you cannot keep doing it all yourself. You need to bring others into that space. So that would be my biggest challenge, Bryar, is that change from operational to strategic, and it's still a journey that I'm on at the moment.
Totally, because when you're wired a certain way, you're just like, I can get this done. I want to get this done really fast. I know what I'm doing. Having to pass that on can actually be a bigger feat for someone that's wired that way, than you think. But a really great answer, because I think lots of leaders, lots of owners that have just known how to do it for many, many years can struggle to pass the baton on in a way, but it is so important in that growth phase. Incredible answer. Thank you for that, Logan. And love that you said you're still working through it. It's still something that you're having to work on each day. It's something I'm conscious of, and it's a journey. It's not a box tick for that one. I'm learning more in that space. Now, what about the highlight? I'd love to hear one highlight. One or two. One highlight. This is a tough one for me. It's probably something I don't do enough of is celebrating success. It's usually just moving from the next challenge to whatever the next one will be. Certainly, I love all the people side of things, meeting the new people and that. But I guess a highlight for me for 2021, although a tough year, we brought in a recognition piece of what we called the Indevin Legends Awards. Awesome. And it was just recognising some of our team members across different values and different categories in that. And I was fortunate enough to be recognised as the Employee of the Year across the business. Amazing. So I was pretty chuffed. To be recognised in that way, but it's certainly I can't get to that point on my own. It's the team members that have helped me get to that point. So pretty chuffed with that. That's cool. Side note, how great is the word chuffed? I use it all the time, so I appreciated that you used it in that moment. No worries. But hey, Logan, that's so cool. A really cool achievement. And like you said, it's the team working together to make things like that possible. But a cool moment in time to mark that sort of milestone, especially after a really hard year. Yeah, definitely. Good on you. That's awesome. Have you? This is a cool question. I quite like this. Have you always been a leader, or do you think it's been a learnt skill for you? Always been a leader. I'm going to say yes to that, Bryar. I think it's been something, I guess, quite naturally that I have, whether I've drifted towards it or been dropped in it, that it's been something
and I guess I always quite often drift towards like sporting analogies and that, Bryar, but a lot of the sporting teams and that I've come through, I've been in some form of captaincy or position of responsibility within that. So I guess it's been in somewhat of a comfortable space that I like to operate in and see where I can get the best out of people. And I'd say, I guess, moving into employment and moving through my time with Indevin, there's been opportunities to learn some new skills, and I guess some new tools to put in the toolbox to help towards that leadership space, likes of doing the Icehouse course and even simple things, first aid courses and those sort of things, where those sort of things pop up and it's just maybe a new technique or a new scenario or experience that you've gone through that you can sort of add into that leadership toolbox.
Yeah, that's great. I've added that as a new question in for my 2022 podcast, and I'm just looking forward to hearing what different leaders say, in terms of if they think they were born with it essentially, or if it's something they've really had to craft and learn. But
certainly full credit to the leaders that have learnt it, because I reckon that's a really tough and brutal journey to work through. It can't be easy, and so I take my hat off to those that have really developed as a learnt skill.
Yeah, so true, so true. A bit of a fun one. What motivates you to get up in the morning?
Motivates me to get up in the morning, I guess a couple of pieces to this. It has to be family. Family's awesome, and with that, the sense of achievement. I have to have a sense of achievement each day, whether it's work, play, something with the family. There needs to be something happen that day that I can look at and see something that that's been achieved for the day. I really struggle if I have a day that I can't really see what I've achieved.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. Even on holiday, my husband's like, "Why do we have to go for a walk around the mount?" And I'm like, "I just have to do something." To sort of look back on the day and go, "Yep, I made the most of it."
Yeah, exactly. You never know what's around the corner, so there has to be that sense of achievement, and that's what I like to have a plan the day before. How I'm gonna tick off that box, whether it's it can be across any of those categories: work, play, or family.
Awesome.
It's nice when you can combine play and family together. So
that's cool. Oh, that's awesome answer. I love that. I'd love to chat a little bit about the program. So as I mentioned at the start, you were on our leadership development program last year. So for context, you jump on, you're with a cohort of people, and you get some great teaching, really practical implementation on how to lead in the business that you're in. I would love to know, what changes have you implemented into Indevin and into your lifestyle since the program?
Very, very good. Very good question, Bryar. There was certainly a lot of content through that course that was a lot of thinking going on post that. So I guess across business and lifestyle, as I touched on earlier, delegation has been a challenge of mine. So really, it sort of brought that, I guess, to a head, and that I needed to bring some structure to that. So bringing structure to my delegation, where I can utilise and bring on the journey my direct reports, where they can help with that. The inclusive solutions approach. So rather than just addressing problems with my solution, actually bringing the team on board as we work through the solutions to problems, so that they've got buy-in to it. Many minds are better than one, and setting the targets, making sure there's an owner, things are time bound, rather than trying to hold all that too close. Visual performance has been a big one that's come out as well, Bryar, is just I guess having that, are we winning or are we losing, having that visible to the team. We set the goal, if they can't see how we're tracking towards it, it's trying to engage them. So when they're out there working towards that weekly plan, you know, when we hit, say, Wednesday, are we on track to complete this plan for the week? I want the team need to be able to see that.
Brilliant.
So we can make changes as we need to.
Yeah, great.
The awareness to say no.
Yeah, good one.
A bit guilty of just saying yes to everything, and the list just, you cross 2 things off and you put 5 things on. You're not winning. So
yeah,
a conscious effort to prioritize and be comfortable saying no where possible.
It's a brilliant one.
Yeah, I could probably talk a while on this category, Bryar, but I guess from a lifestyle point of view, it's been that work-life balance. It's very easy to get too deep into work, and you hit likes of our harvest periods and that where your operating hours push out, and it can basically be it's work and sleep. It's important that there's that, I guess, that break in the cycle to go for a walk or do something with the family that just breaks, you know, keeps everything in balance.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's brilliant. Great thoughts there. I always tell myself that a yes is a no somewhere else. And being a yes person as well, that kind of helps me prioritize my yeses, you know, like, is this yes worth a no being somewhere else? So yes, lots of gold in what you've said, Logan. It's great. I'd love you, just to sum up your experience in the leadership development program, how you found it, and any extra thoughts that you had.
Yeah, cool. To be fair, I was actually quite nervous going into the LDP program. We've had quite a
school all over again, or
it was a little bit.
yeah. Awesome.
Just a little bit of the, I guess, the fear of the unknown. We've had quite a few of our Indevin team members have gone through various Icehouse courses prior, and I was thinking I need to sort of, you know, hold the standard. But no, I really enjoyed it. It put me outside my comfort zone at times, and really challenged me. Really engaging sessions. Like, some of the days were pretty full on and long, but it didn't feel like that sort of at the end of the day, and relevant to real world. You know, talking in the class with the coordinators and with the classmates, and that everyone's going through similar sort of challenges, just in a different setting.
Yeah, totally.
So very thought-provoking. The networking was fantastic. We've still been doing some sessions. I'm trying to get the team into the winery, but that's proving every time we sort of get close to setting it up, COVID changes or something. So
yeah, we're trying to rally up the reunion, but COVID is not playing ball, that's for sure. But once that happens, people will be stoked, I'm sure.
yeah, we'll get there. It's just gonna have to keep trying. So no, I was really happy with the course, and certainly encouraging some of my junior team members coming through to make some time and join a session. So I guess I'd love to, if I've done this course several years earlier. Probably my only comment there, but no, fantastic course and definitely recommend it.
Yeah, that's so awesome to hear. And no, you definitely kept the high standard of Indevin alumni. It's been awesome. Even just keeping in touch with you, Logan, and just having you a key part of our alumni already it's just been really special. And really great connection with the Indevin team through the Icehouse and the years that we've had people on programs. So it's always awesome to see new people come through the programs as well. But yeah, good to hear. It was an awesome experience. And what I love about it too is it is so practical to the real world. And you walk into this room and you're like, all these people are from industries so different to mine. How could they understand the challenges that are going on in my world? But like you said, you know, everyone's actually dealing with the same things, just in different capacities and in different ways. So really cool to hear your feedback. Love to know what excites you about the future of your work in industry.
Yes.
Another big question.
Yeah, it is. And I'd love a crystal ball.
Yeah.
Is, working in this space. But the growth of the business is always something that really excites me. I just never know. Joining First Harvest 2004, we did 3,000 tonne. Now we're the leading player in the wine industry. I never fathomed that we were going to get that large. So that's really exciting for me. Meeting what new people are going to be joining the business and helping us on that journey. The development of the business and the people. I love that. Someone new to the industry coming through, and how we can grow them into what aspect of the business they're passionate about.
Great.
Whether it's in the cellar, it's winemaking, laboratory, engineering, IT. There's so many different pathways. That someone can move through. Again, that whole continuous improvement space. How can we make things better? Bringing a lot of these smart technologies in, and how they can make things, smarter, better, improved quality, easier for our team, health and safety, all that stuff. And the next harvest. One thing I've learned over all these harvests is every harvest is different. Wow. So it's quite exciting, a little bit scary of what that difference is going to be. Is it high yield season, low yield, disease pressure, global pandemic? There's always something happening. So that's always sort of keeps you on the edge of your seat of, what's the difference going to be for the 2022 season?
Yeah, wow. Yeah, no, that's so interesting. Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's great. Who is one person that's been really influential in your leadership journey?
Some good questions here, Bryar.
Actually, I've refreshed them for 2022, and you are the first recording in 2022. So you're my guinea pig, and you're doing very, very, very well.
Right, thank you. One person that's been influential in my leadership journey would have to be a gentleman by the name of Dean Coe, who is his role at the moment is GM of Vineyards. As I've moved through my journey with Indevin and growing in the roles, Dean's been my direct report for north of 10 years.
Wow, awesome.
So we've formed quite a strong relationship, and I've learned so much from him going through, the different harvest scenarios that I just talked to, and just being alongside him and having him as a sounding board and for guidance. Just his leadership style is, I've certainly taken a lot from that with what I'm doing as I've moved through into some of the roles that he's been in. So certainly that just the proactive approach to work and just that calm and consistent leadership is something I've definitely tried to replicate where I can. So yeah, he's certainly been the most influential leader that I've had.
That's so special and cool that as you've gone from more of the operational side of things into the people side of things, that you've had such a great leader to look to and, like you said, replicate some of the things that you love about being under their leadership. I think that's really special. And that will then flow down to, the people that you're leading now and those that will head in the leadership direction in the future. How cool is that the impact from just one leader can be so great?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I'm very lucky and grateful for, whether the stars aligned or that coming together that we had all those years back has certainly helped with my progression and success on my Indevin journey.
Awesome. Yeah, 10 years, you would have gone through a lot of highs, lows, in-betweens, harvests.
Yeah.
In that time, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Great answer. We'll finish with this one. Those listening, those business leaders, owners, whoever's tuning in, if you could give any advice to business leaders listening in, what would that be? Any advice that maybe has stuck around with you over the years?
Yep. And I think, I've got two parts to this, Bryar. And I'm relatively old school with some of my approaches. So one piece of advice for business leaders that I would like to table is bring your team on the journey. Make sure there's that buy-in. Tell the story. Make sure that they've got they're invested in it. They contributed to it. Whether it's a problem solving or business strategy or your business values, make sure the team come on that journey. Is super important. And hey, they've got all sorts of ideas and life experiences as well that they can throw into the bucket. So make sure you bring your team on the journey with you. It just makes life so much easier, but also so much more successful for what you're trying to do. So bring your team on the journey.
Great.
And the last one for me is KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. It's so easy to overcomplicate something, and then on that first point, you can actually lose your team if you put too much complexity in something. Just keep it simple. There's so much complexity at work and outside of work at the moment. Just keep it simple, get it executed, and you can always, bring the continuous improvement in and develop from there. But just KISS.
Yeah, absolute gold. Keep it simple, stupid. It's a winner. It's been around for generations and it hasn't let us down.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah, no, honestly, Logan, absolute gold answers. I really enjoyed that conversation and interview. And I know that a lot of people listening will have got something out of it, whether that be a bit of a behind the scenes of the wine industry and what that looks like for you guys, what the future looks like, but also that leadership piece, some brilliant advice and insight from your years in leadership. So thank you so much for the conversation. Hope you enjoyed it too.
It was awesome. Thank you for your time, Bryar, and always enjoy talking I guess in this subject matter, and hopefully it's of benefit for new leaders and that coming through.